Good evening, everybody, and happy Tuesday. This is Dr. Stephanie, and welcome to this Tuesday's edition of Let's Talk Tuesday, sponsored by Floyd Lee Locums. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join me. As you all know, I am Dr. Stephanie, your double board certified critical care physician, and I work with physicians who are struggling with their jobs, burnt out with their careers, or who just want some career advice. Through my books, webinars, coaching, and speaking, I help physicians discover alternative jobs and careers in medicine so that they can practice medicine on their own terms. Thank you for joining me for Let's Talk Tuesday, sponsored by Floyd Lee Locums. So before we get started, I have a favor. If you are here, hey, Dr. Tamisha, how are you? If you are here, drop a comment. If you like a comment, hit the like button. If you love a comment, hit the love button. Please feel free to tag anybody that you think needs to hear this. Please feel free to share. And if you are watching at this on replay, type replay. So this evening, we are going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, locums. And what we're going to specifically discuss is 5 reasons why every physician should start doing locums right now. 5 reasons why every physician should start doing locums right now. And this is the time of the year in which I get a lot of people, physicians reaching out to me because they are so interested in doing locums. And the reason why locums is kind of a hot topic at this time of the year is because this is the time of the year in which physician contracts are either renewed or not, or this is the time of the year in which graduates are completing their programs and are entering into the job market for the first time. So a lot of physicians have been reaching out to me because they are needing to explore doing locums as a career option. And some physicians are reaching out to me because they're kind of being forced to look at locums as a career option because they are in the midst of a career transition. So I just think that because of these things, that every physician really needs to start considering doing locums right now. And here is why I'm going to tell you the top 5 reasons why every physician needs to consider locums, and every physician actually needs to start doing locums right now. The first reason is instability. As many of you know, I do have an MBA. So one of the reasons why I started doing locums is because I went back to school to get my MBA. And one of the things that I have never forgotten, which I always come back to this, is something that one of my business professors says. He said, medicine is an unstable market, and unstable markets consolidate. And we physicians are seeing this play out in real time in several ways. I've seen, Ethel, how are you? I've seen whole hospitals just shut down like that in Houston. I've seen hospitals shut down to the point where patients kicked out on the street, people go to work, hospital is closed, is shuttered. So I've seen hospitals shut down. I've seen practices get bought out. I've seen practices get bankrupt. I've seen hospital mergers take place, healthcare organizations merge and consolidate. I've seen practices disappear. I've seen whole departments be restructured. So in all of these situations, with all of these mergers, these acquisitions, all of these changes, I've seen instances in which groups have lost their contracts and have had to fire the very physicians that they hired to service the contracts in the first place. So I've seen all of these things happen. And when that happens, guess who loses their jobs? We do, the physicians do. And because of the instability of the medical marketplace, that means really and truly, no job is safe. And it comes as a shock to us physicians because we oftentimes are not privy to the conversations that are being had behind closed doors. We don't have the information that's going on in the board meetings that, are pointing to the signs that the organization is losing money, or that they're in the talks with some other organization to merge or to be bought out, or we just didn't know that that group whose contract that we signed to go work for, we didn't know where they were in their contract cycle. So we had no idea that, the job we started 6 months ago wasn't going to be available, in 6 months, because our employers lost their contract, didn't get renewed. And because of this instability, and because these changes in the job market come as a shock to us, we are oftentimes left holding the bag, left scrambling for another job, another source of income. So that is why every physician needs to realize that the medical market is unstable, and you need to start the process right now. So a couple of things you can do: update your CV. So for those of you who don't have an updated CV, that's your homework tonight. Update your CV. Reach out to some locums recruiter. Get into their system, because if and when the time comes in which you go to work one day, and at the beginning of the day you have a job, but then at the end of the day you don't, you're going to need to have a fallback plan. And the quicker you get in the system, the quicker you get in the locum system, the quicker you get the ball moving, the quicker it is you will be able to find another source of employment, whether it's permanent or temporary. The next reason why every physician needs to start doing locums right now is permanence, or the lack thereof. I like to tell everybody, there is no such thing as a permanent job. I don't care if you are a permanent employee. I don't care if you signed a contract, an employment contract versus a locums contract versus a moonlighting contract. There are no such things as a permanent job. So even if you are an employed physician, even if you consider yourself permanent, check the termination clause in your contract, and you will see that you can be fired without cause in given a 30, 60, or 90-day notice. Some places can fire you without cause given a 2-week notice. So that means that as of today, your employment is only guaranteed for the length of notice required to be given in your termination clause. So even if you sign a contract that's a 3-year contract that's supposed to be automatically renewed at the end of each year for a period of 3 years, there's a termination clause. And if that termination clause says that you can be let go without cause given a 90-day notice, then that means you don't have a 3-year contract. That only means you have a 90-day contract. So no job is permanent. And because of that, you everybody needs to be in the job market all the time. And here's the thing: you can be fired with cause immediately. And if you think they don't have problems trumping up a reason to get rid of you, you have another thing coming. So nobody's job is permanent. Nobody's job is safe around here in this day and age. Long gone are the days in which you go and you open a practice and you have that practice for 30 years. Long gone are the days in which you go and you work the same place for 20 years. I've been doing locums enough. I've been doing locums for almost going on 11 years. And I will tell you that even as a locums doctor, I'm now going back to some places for a second time, because they bring me in to fill the need, because they've had a couple of doctors that have left. Then when they replenish their permanent physicians, they take me off the schedule. They don't need me anymore. But then 2-3 years later, as those other doctors begin to leave their jobs, more opportunities come open for me in these same organizations, because now they need locums doctors again. So I'm saying this to say that no jobs are permanent, and that everybody needs to always be in the job market, because there is no such thing as a permanent job. The third reason why every doctor needs to start doing locums right now is that just as there's no such thing as a permanent job, there's always going to be a need for locums doctors, because of the fact that the locums market is so unstable and organizations are always being restructured. There's always going to be a need for locums doctors to fill the short-term staffing needs until the restructuring is complete. So let's just say, you have a situation in which departments totally get restructured and they have to right size. So you have a whole slew of doctors that are going to leave for whatever reason during this process. But then when the department is ramping up their services again, or the practice is ramping up their services again, or the hospital has changed management and they're ramping up their services again, they've got to replace the physicians that they left, the physicians that left. And so in order, and before they can find the physicians to fill those positions permanently, they'll bring in locums doctors. So like I said, I've been doing this enough to know and to see this cycle repeat itself every 2, 3, 5 years. So it's almost like the only certainty in this medical market is the uncertainty, and doing locums capitalizes on that. So locums is a reliable way to always have a job in an uncertain market that is always in flux, always changing, always restructuring. So the fourth reason why every doctor needs to start doing locums right this second is because of the uncertainty. I've talked about the uncertainty in the physician job market, but a lot of doctors are just uncertain in terms of what they want to do when they grow up, for lack of a better phrase. And even especially the doctors who are just completing their training, they don't know. You don't know what kind of practice style you're gonna want. You don't know whether or not you're going to want to live in the place that you move to. There's so many variables, so many things that are in the air that you really don't know until you kind of get to the place, you start working there, and then you might decide that I just don't know if I want to do this. And so a lot of doctors I would encourage to do locums, because what you don't want to do is feel like you're in the rush to sign a contract just because you need some money. That is the wrong thing that you can do. Whereas working as a locums doctor for a couple of months buys you some time, gives you some income, and so you can take your time and do the research on which permanent job opportunity you would like to pursue. Now, there are other physicians that have been working as physicians for a while, and they've decided that they want to have a career change. They don't want to continue the status quo, but they're uncertain in terms of which way they want their career to go. Locums is a perfect opportunity to work during this time of uncertainty, because locums offers flexibility. You can do it on a short-term basis. You can make your schedule the way you want to make it, and it doesn't require any long-term commitment. So while you're in the replanning phase of your career, dealing with a whole lot of uncertainty, locums is an option so that you can continue to have some income, have some work stability during this time of uncertainty in your career. So just to recap, for those of you who are just joining us, we are talking about the 5 reasons why every physician should start doing locums right now. And the first reason is because of the unstable locums market. The medical market is unstable, and unstable markets always consolidate. So that's why you will have hospitals closing, mergers, consolidations, acquisitions, practices shutting down, practices getting bought out, departments being restructured, groups losing their contracts, new groups gaining contracts. There's a whole lot of instability, and I'm sure for every physician, I'm sure you've heard horror stories about, friends and family members losing their jobs, or just being downsized, right-sized, or restructured, or maybe you're going through this. Medicine is an unstable market, and because unstable markets consolidate, you always need to have a plan B, because there will come a time in which one day you show up to work, and before you leave at the end of the day, you will not have a job. The next reason why every physician should do locums is because there is no such thing as a permanent job. And what I mean is this: your job, your contract, the length of guaranteed employment is only as good as your termination clause, the length of notice that is required to be given in your termination clause. So even if you have a 3-year contract, if your termination clause states that you can be terminated without cause in either 30, 60, or 90 days, that means your employment from today is only guaranteed for 30, 60, or 90 days. You can walk into your job tomorrow and they can say, thank you, but we no longer need your services. And here's the thing, they can terminate you without cause instantly. So there's no such thing as a permanent job. And because there's no such thing as a permanent job, you always need plan B. You always need to be in the job market. And locums is something that everybody needs to be doing right now. The third reason that every doctor should be doing locums is because in an unstable market, the only thing that is reliable is the need for temporary staffing. As organizations downsize and right size and restructure, when there's that initial exodus of physicians, once things are restructured and the rebuilding occurs, they're going to need to bring in locums doctors on a temporary basis until they can hire their permanent physician workforce. And as a locums physician, you are in the perfect opportunity to take advantage of the uncertainty in this medical market. So being a locums doctor sometimes is the only reliable job that you can have in some situations. The next reason that every doctor should consider doing locums is that if you're just at a point in your career in which you're uncertain about which path you should take, locums is a viable option if you're just starting out and you have a lot of hesitancy about finding a permanent job, signing a contract, and you just don't want to feel rushed, but at the same time you need to start making some money. You can do locums in the couple of months to make some income, so you won't feel rushed just to sign on the dotted lines for the first permanent job that you come across. If you're an older physician who's been in the game for a couple of years and you're looking for a career transition, but you don't really know what you want to do, you can consider doing some locums until you figure out what you want to do during this next phase of your career. And then the fifth reason why every physician should start doing locums right now is simply because of the flexibility. Locums is an awesome way to, work up some extra shifts when you want or not. You can work when you want, where you want, how you want, do what you want to do, or do what you don't want to do, because it's something that you're going to do. You're an independent contractor and you kind of don't have to do the assignment if you don't want to do the assignment. And that's one of the things that I love about locums. And most people who love locums love the flexibility, because in that flexibility, you kind of regain control of your life, your schedule, and things that you find important for you. So like I said, and I understand that a lot of people aren't in a position to be able to do extra work outside your work. If you are a permanent physician and your employer prohibits you from being able to do additional things, I mean, I understand that. Some of you guys watching are physicians who are in residency and fellowship, and you might not be in a position to start doing locums, but everybody is in a position to start looking at it, to start the process, because I will tell you this, there's going to come a time in which you're going to be faced with a career transition, either by choice or by force. And having locums as something that you can do in the meantime is a valuable option. So for those of you who want to get started, who have questions, or who are even doing locums and you want to reach out to another company, I would highly suggest that you reach out to the locums experts at Floyd Lee Locums and visit them at www.floydleelocums.com. If you all have any questions, please feel free to type them in the comments or message me on Facebook. I am Dr. Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining us for this Tuesday's edition of Let's Talk Tuesday, sponsored by Floyd Lee Locums, and we will talk soon. Thank you and bye-bye.